Right then, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan, and welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the series here on the channel where I upload multiple times a day, reacting to the headlines, telling you what's going on, giving you my opinion on it, asking for yours, extending it to you, the viewer, the listener, however you're absorbing this content. Lots to talk about today. Continuation of the Lukaku saga is important though, and Caicedo is important though, but also Cesare Casadei to Leicester, which is good. A positive piece of news on Dusan Vlahovic as far as I am concerned. And Chelsea to hijack Ousmane Dembele. Wah, wah. I'll tell you what I think about that. Thank you for joining me. There's so much to get into, so do consider hitting the bell if you choose to subscribe, because I upload all the ruddy time. And if you want to support the content, I would urge you to like the video. Click of a button and it helps out me a lot. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Alright then, first of all, Leicester target Cesare Casadei. Now, he was always going to be the most likely to go on loan, Cesare Casadei. Of course, Andre Santos, Chelsea see as like the truth, and they want to utilise him in the first team. They wanted to do that immediately, in fact, when they first signed him from Vasco da Gama from in South America, in Brazil. So, despite Cesare Casadei doing nothing wrong, heck, he's done everything right. He went on loan, granted Reading got relegated, but that wasn't his fault. Played very, very well for Italy's under-21s, wearing the captain's armband, scoring lots of goals, much like Andre Santos, though Santos is probably a bit of a deeper player. Casadei's a bit taller, likes to score headers, get his head on things, likes to score goals. A little bit of a Italiano Frank Lampardia. Yeah. But yeah, despite him doing really, really well, it will be another loan, and it was probably going to be another championship loan, but a better one. And you won't get better championship loan than Leicester City. Of course, they're looking to fill the void left by James Maddison, and of course, Harvey Barnes looks like he will go to Newcastle, I think. Casadei's a great option for a season-long loan, and he's a great destination also. Big club, they will probably be favourites for promotion, and, you know, a great step for Cesare to play well, high-profile loan, come back, maybe challenge in Poch's squad, depending on where we are and who's knocking around. If not, you know, get a Premier League loan at that point and still be very young, or even flog him and make a profit, which is a little bit like, you know, distasteful, but ultimately Chelsea generate revenue, and this is something that we've always done. So it's a really good loan move, I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Alright, an exclusive from Steve K on Football Transfers. Ousmane Dembele is under consideration for Chelsea amid ongoing process of his contract renewal at Baffa. He's been linked to Chelsea before. Ousmane Dembele, the Galactico French right winger. It's very French then. I'm allowed to do the accent because I am half French. As things stand, this summer, Ousmane has a €50 million release clause, which is about, £43 million? Now, for a player that cost Barcelona, €120 million from Dortmund or something crazy all those years ago when he was making all those assists under Thomas Tuchel at Dortmund. That's how long ago it was. He's still very young though. I think he's like, 26? Like, you know, in his prime. Look, make no bones about it, ladies and gentlemen. Ousmane Dembele for like £43 million release clause would be a bargain, represent a bargain, and it would be interesting to test the resolve of this Chelsea owners who do get terribly excited about Galactico names. These American owners, they got very, very excited for a few times with Cristiano Ronaldo. Thank all of our respective gods that didn't come to pass, because yes, he doesn't look like he's helpful to a football team at the moment. And yeah, they looked at, you know, Neymar's name keeps popping up. Of course, Enzo is relatively Galactico, like super high profile. And I wonder if someone says, do you want Enzo? Do you want Ousmane for 43 million quid or something like that? I'd wonder what they'd say. But look, we don't have a really high profile right winger, and he would represent that, like two-footed, very, very exciting, very exciting. But the elephant in the room here is wages. So he'll be looking on the other flank of Chelsea and look at two players, Mudryk and Sterling. Sterling represents the old regime, £300,000 a week, and he'd probably go, I would accept that. But then he looks at Mudryk, £90,000 a week. That represents the new regime's wage structure that shan't be broken. You know, Enzo's on slightly more, but it's only really Reece James who's on a lot of money. But he's kind of like the beacon of Chelsea Football Club and kind of got in there just before the rules changed or Chelsea's structure changed. He won't come to Chelsea and sign a 90k a week deal, Ousmane Dembele. You know, that is the truth. But would Chelsea break their wage structure for him? I'm not so sure. Anyway, I didn't want to speak too long about it. It is in the headlines, and I did want to speak about it and explain that to you. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Comment down below, and let's keep this train going, baby. Right, Fabrizio Romano reiterating Chelsea are not interested in Dusan Vlahovic. He's not on our list. StamfordBridge2far.com has written this. According to Fabrizio Romano, Dusan Vlahovic is not on Chelsea's list, and there has been no negotiations or talks taking place with Juve. The Blues have apparently been linked with the Serbian striker, but Romano has denied those reports, as the Blues are yet to hold talks with Juventus for his signing. Of course, this is going to be linked with Lukaku, more on him in a moment. It's also been stated that the old lady would be willing to sell him for 20 million quid if we gave Lukaku to them as well. Look, I am pleased we are not going to sign Dusan Vlahovic. Now, I have developed my opinion, often while talking to you guys here in videos. Obviously, he's an exciting striker. He had an explosive season and a half at Fiorentina before transferring permanently to Juventus. But if Juventus see him as the problem and Romelu Lukaku as the solution, how does that make you feel about us buying this guy? That's the problem. More than that, look, he's scored 10 league goals this season. He got double figures in, you know, a troublesome season for Juventus. But ultimately, he's a 23-year-old striker. Like, how old is Nick Jackson? 23, 22? How old's Bria? 22? We don't want loads of same age young strikers. It's good that we've got a couple, but for me, you need a senior one for them to look up to, to drop right in that you know is going to do good work. I said I really liked that story about Ivan Toney, you know, signing him in January, you know, trusting those two until January and signing Toney. That would probably be my personal preference. I also explained how I would take Alexander Mitrovic for 20-30 million if Saudi Arabia are bidding 20 million. You know, Premier League tax. Can Chelsea just like drop 30 million on a 28-year-old Alexander Mitrovic to play for 2 or 3 seasons, rotating in whoever, you know, rises to the top, Jackson or Bria, and then they will succeed him. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I'd prefer personally. So Dusan Vlahovic, not spending loads of money on him. He would also want high wages, surely. You'd think that Ivan Toney, he'd trust himself to go and get high wages somewhere. But Ivan Toney's wages right now will be like, what, 40k a week? So what we say, we're like, okay, you're a senior striker, we'll triple your wages. We'll go slightly above the structure because you're, you know, late 20s and you're in the sweet spot for that contract. We'll give you 120k a week or something like that. This is all speculative and in theory, but it's worth talking about because it's all relevant. Let's move on. Right, we'll leave the Lukaku updates for the end. Brighton expect to include Moises Caicedo in their pre-season tour of America, where of course they're playing Chelsea, I believe. I've explained before, I won't be doing immediate match reviews on the Chelsea games because for me in the UK, they are at like midnight, 1 a.m. and to watch a game and then film afterwards, it's not for me. I like to go to bed early. But yes, Brighton, as things stand, are holding firm reportedly on a £100 million price tag should it be of Chelsea's payment structure, so paying them in 4 instalments. But if we were to pay up front, they would accept an £85 million fee, of which Chelsea aren't overly interested in paying that. We want to stagger our payments, apparently. I wonder if Chelsea will just bend at this point. And you know, just pay the money. There's several reports that the camp of Moises Caicedo is getting rather frustrated now, probably much like many Chelsea fans with this saga continuing, but he is such an important piece of the puzzle. But as you know, Brighton have said, yeah, he will go on pre-season tour, which really is a disaster for player and Chelsea. Not so much for Brighton, they don't need money. You know, that's why they're taking us for a ride, really. So it's really, really interesting to see that. What do you do if you don't sign or is this Caicedo? And if you say, look, guys, all right, it's too much. Thank you very much. Let's maintain a good relationship. I hope he has a good season with you. See you later. Do you know what I mean? Do you go for a Romeo Lavia? Now, I wanted to talk about something that I posted on my social media yesterday, at Football Yannick, by the way, on Threads and on Instagram. If you want to go follow me on those platforms, at Football Yannick. I posted an image saying if we had to win a game tomorrow, like from the players that we own, what I'd do is I'd play Jackson up front, because obviously Bruce had a year out and Jackson's ended last season in really hot form. I'd start Sterling on the left, despite Mudryk being good for the under-21s in Ukraine. I think Sterling's just been training really hard. He's a professional. He's long in the tooth. You just trust him to go off the bat. And I'll start Noni Madueke on the right. Of course, start Nkunku behind the striker Nick Jackson. And the back four would be Kepa. I just about put Thiago Silva over Wes Fofana because of, again, experience. I'm saying if we had to win a game tomorrow, I'd put Levi Colwill in next to Thiago Silva because Levi's just played really well in the final. Again, form, there's no offence to Badiashile, it's just playing well. And of course, I would play Ben Chilwell at left back. But then I throw the dice. I would play Malo Gusto at right back, conventional, good right back. And I'd play Reece James next to Enzo Fernandez in the midfield. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, most of you, well, many of you at least, will know Reece James, of course, has played a lot of midfield. When he went on loan in Wigan, he was moved into midfield, which pretty much saved him from relegation. He has played briefly in midfield for Chelsea in a couple of games. And of course, he's played in midfield for England, where he played a lot better at the time than Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was moved into midfield, and it was a disaster. But since he's been moved into midfield, Trent, he's played very well with the number 10 shirt, so he deserves credit for that. But, Reece James is no stranger to midfield. Now, of course, Trevor Chalobah is also a CDM at times. When he was in loan in Ligue 1, he played in the central defensive midfield. And maybe he'd be a safer bet, I don't know, in terms of fitness or whatever, but I would play Reece James in midfield. It would protect his knee, it would protect his hamstring more, less of just burning up and down the flank. You can leave that to a young 21-year-old Malo Gusto, although, like I said, Reece James is also very young as well. But he can spray around passes. He can tackle. Of course, we know Reece James can tackle. He can hold space, positionally aware. And I would just get him on the pitch there. You get to play Malo Gusto, who cost a few quid. He's very good. He will get up and down a lot. And you keep Reece James's tenacity, dynamism, but just less movement, really. Just screening the back four, combining with Enzo. I think that would be really, really interesting. You keep Reece James on the pitch, and Reece James probably has the capacity to be the best in any position. We knew he used to be a striker. He could easily be a winger with how he, an old school winger of like crossing in and cutbacks. I don't think he'd dribble between like Eden Hazard or anything, but in terms of like getting up and just doing a cutback or a cross or something like that, he'd be really, really good at. We know he can play centre back, probably. Well, he can play centre back, right centre back. He'd probably play sweeper. He play right back, right wing back. He can play everywhere. I would just consider that to protect his hamstring. Anyway, I wanted to put that out there. I did want to spend some time speaking about that to you because I think it's a very interesting idea. And look, many of you will be going, look, Reece James is the best right back in the world. Why would you want to take that away? Not necessarily, but in this situation, to protect him for a long term, so he has not injured for a long time, etc. I'd be interested in doing that. And also, Malo Gusto is going to be really, really good. Anyway, let's move on. Right, so Romelu Lukaku, it's going to be really fun. Gazzetta, Italian publication. So this is a translated article, ladies and gentlemen. Right, Lukaku warns Pochettino. He has been training in the Chelsea Technical Centre since Monday. I don't know what that means. Oh, wait. What? Pochettino has a Lukaku. We'll have to take a deep breath and try and understand this. With the transfer to Inter skipped, if you haven't watched my previous 2 uploads, I urge you to go watch them. I talk about this story with Lukaku. The Belgium striker will show up at Cobham waiting to land at Juve or elsewhere, but will not go on the US tour. Well, that's good because we do not want you to go on the US tour. So Chelsea are waiting for Lukaku. In the chaos over the Belgium striker and after the break with Inter, two certainties remain. That his future will not be with the Blues, who are waiting for a team to be ready to pay him at least 40 million euros, preferably 45 million euros, which would be our asking price of 40 million pounds sterling. And they will show up on Monday. So he'll show up on Monday, 2 days' time to start training. Something that Matt Law said he wouldn't do, that he'd go on strike. Interesting to see what happens there. A situation Chelsea were convinced to avoid, not sure in being able to now sell the ex-Nerazzurri outright before the call-up. He had the deal there. It was waiting for him. He just went quiet. He went AWOL. Watch my previous uploads if you want the just mind-blowing story of Romelu Lukaku this summer. It's just incredible stuff, really. So feel free to go watch that. Also, I forgot to mention in previous videos, and I was rightly called out on it in the comments, Inter signed Thuram, and that's probably a reason why he's throwing his toys out of the pram, because he's like, another striker. But, they sold Dzeko. Anyway, in fact, the player that the coach let Coach Pochettino know that he will be at the team's training centre on Monday. There you go, that's what it means. Lukaku had initially been called up for Chelsea on Wednesday, with the manager Pochettino waiting for him in his office for the first greeting, like all players do, like he said. Thanks to what seemed the rapid evolution of negotiations with Inter. However, Lukaku had been authorised not to appear this week, postponing. They basically said, look, you don't have to call up, come now. We understand the situation is hot. Just don't come in because we don't need that. The situation skipped the deal with Inter, of course, is now closed. Inter have pulled out. Chelsea are waiting for someone to come forward for Lukaku. Juve have offered 40 million, including bonuses, but of course they're waiting to sell Vlahovic by August the 4th. Vlahovic is wanted by Paris Saint-Germain, by the way, and I feel like if we need to flog him, if they can flog him to PSG, they will come in and buy Lukaku, and seemingly all problems will be solved. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Very, very interesting one. Developing stories all the time. Of course, it is a little bit nauseating to continue talking about Caicedo and Lukaku like this. But they're the two highest profile deals that we are currently working on. The one that probably excites most of us is, Caicedo, because it's so important. But the one that's more novel and it's a bit more sexy in terms of the football is Rayan Cherki, and we can hope that deal gets done as well. Should we push a little bit harder? I do wonder if we're trying to get Caicedo done first, though. Anyway, let me know what you think. Very, very interested in learning your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down in the comment section below. Thank you for supporting the content by liking and subscribing. Remember, if you do subscribe, or if you are already subscribed, make sure the bell is turned on for I upload all the time. And you need to be notified, friends. All right, mate. See you very soon. Peace.